Emergence of a rugged Hollywood icon. The American stage and screen actor Humphrey Bogart was one of Hollywood, California's most durable stars and a performer of considerable skill, subtlety, and individuality throughout the 20th century. He emerged as an emblem of rugged masculinity, embodying both the virtues of a hero and the allure of a rogue. As World War II raged, countless Americans found themselves questioning their values of loyalty, honor, and character, and Bogart's enigmatic persona resonated deeply within their introspection. Beyond his acting prowess, Bogart's personal life was also captivating. His legendary union with co-star Lauren Bacall captured the public's imagination. Bacall's alluring wit perfectly complemented Bogart's cynicism, consistently bringing forth his romantic and heroic nature. Early life and upbringing. Humphrey DeForest Bogart was born on December 25, 1899, in New York City. While popular mythologies sometimes like to paint his life as having begun in humble circumstances that mirrored his later on-screen underdog roles, the truth is more complex. In fact, Bogart hailed from a well-to-do family, anchored by parents who had, each in their own way, achieved a degree of distinction and comfort. His mother, Maud Humphrey, was a renowned commercial artist famous for her illustrations that graced prominent advertisements and magazines at the time. Meanwhile, his father, Belmont DeForest Bogart, worked as a respected surgeon. The family's economic security and Maud's professional success allowed them to divide their time between an elegant residence in Manhattan's affluent Upper West Side and a summer estate near the serene Canandaigua Lake in upstate New York. Canandaigua Lake provided a rural tranquility that contrasted sharply with the fast pace of life in Manhattan. As a result, Bogart's childhood was filled with both the excitement of the city and the relaxation of nature. He was joined by two younger sisters, with whom he could roam the expansive grounds of their countryside home, an upbringing that contrasted sharply with the role of the hardened city dweller he would come to epitomize on screen. Yet, the social environment surrounding Bogart was not without contradictions. Growing up in New York's upper crust, he was exposed to the rigid expectations that accompanied privilege. The Bogart household, especially under the guidance of his ambitious mother, had expectations that he would follow a suitably reputable path. Because Maud was a successful artist and his father a surgeon, there was never any question that Humphrey and his sisters would receive excellent educations, forging a clear trajectory toward elite professional careers. In fact, the Bogarts occupied an interesting position in a rapidly shifting America. The turn of the 20th century saw industrial expansion and the emergence of new forms of entertainment, from vaudeville to the fledgling silent film industry. These cultural currents swirled around the young Bogart, shaping his worldview without ever fully dictating his destiny. We can only speculate about whether the creative sparks of his mother's artistic background helped him see the world of performance and art as a viable pathway, but the seeds were planted. Despite living comfortably, the family was not without strife. Maud's dedication to her career sometimes created tension, and there were suggestions that Belmont struggled with health issues and financial stability in later years. While the scope of those tensions was never entirely public, it is impossible not to consider how a boy growing up in a privileged setting but witnessing familial stress might develop a deep-seated sense of ambivalence toward authority and predetermined social roles. The same understated rebellion that characterized many of Bogart's future roles, and his personal choices, might trace its roots to the environment in which he was raised. Nevertheless, these early experiences helped fashion him into a person comfortable moving between different social circles. He might spend one afternoon attending a high-society function where his parents entertained notable figures, and the next day find himself wandering more modest neighborhoods or escaping to the countryside. This ability to adapt would eventually become an asset in his acting career, granting him the capacity to slide into roles that demanded everything from street-smart cunning to suave sophistication. Education and military enlistment. Bogart's academic journey began at Trinity School in New York City, a respected institution that demanded high standards. He then proceeded to Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts, long considered one of the most prestigious preparatory schools in the country. His enrollment at Phillips Academy reflected his family's hope, or perhaps more accurately, their expectation, that he would follow in his father's professional footsteps, possibly becoming a doctor or pursuing another similarly respectable vocation. By all accounts, Bogart chafed under these rigid academic expectations. Rumors swirl around the reasons for his eventual departure from Phillips Academy. Some speculate that he was expelled for disciplinary issues, while others suggest that his father withdrew him due to poor academic performance. The details remain hazy, but what's clear is that Bogart's life took a decisive turn when he left the academy without graduating. This was no small event, given his parents' aspirations for him. In 1918, at the height of World War I, Bogart decided to enlist in the United States Navy, an act that, on one level, may have seemed at odds with his privileged upbringing, but on another, spoke to a blossoming sense of individuality. Serving aboard the USS Leviathan, among other vessels, Bogart was introduced to discipline of a different kind, one shaped by the hierarchies and demands of naval life rather than academic standards or parental expectations. Throughout his naval service, he reportedly performed tasks diligently, though stories occasionally surfaced describing minor brushes with authority that foreshadowed his future rebellious streak. It is also during this time that Bogart supposedly acquired the scar on his lip that contributed to his trademark list, although accounts vary on exactly how it occurred. The official naval records do not mention the injury in any detail, which leaves room for the many colorful anecdotes that have circulated throughout Hollywood lore. What remains undeniable is that his time in the Navy expanded his worldview, introduced him to men from different backgrounds, and solidified a lifelong fascination with boats and the sea. Even after his honorable discharge, Bogart joined the Naval Reserve to maintain that connection to maritime life. This affinity for sailing in the sea would follow him into his later years, where he happily spent time on his beloved yacht, the Santana. Such experiences paint a portrait of a young man at a crossroads, straddling the line between the conventional paths his parents intended for him and his own desire for independence. His attempts at more mundane job ventures, working briefly for an importer and dabbling as a bond salesman, felt unfulfilling. The unraveling of the academic plan and the flirtation with the life of a sailor set the stage for the next defining turn, his introduction to a realm that, ironically, would make his name world-renowned: acting. First steps into acting initially, after trying his hand at various occupations, including working for an importer and as a bond salesman, fate intervened when he entered the realm of World Films, a company owned by his family friend William A. O'Brady. Despite his initial struggles in behind-the-scenes roles, Bogart became enamored with the allure of the acting profession and began to make regular appearances on stage. During this time, he predominantly played minor romantic secondary characters, savoring the taste of the spotlight. Early marriages and move to Hollywood. Even as Bogart's stage career started to pick up a little momentum in New York, his personal life entered a new phase. In 1926, at the age of 26, he married actress Helen Menken, a relationship that was short-lived, lasting only about a year. Their union dissolved in 1927, possibly due to personality clashes or the inherent tensions that come with two rising performers each trying to find their place in a competitive industry. That same restlessness carried him into a second marriage with another actress, Mary Phillips, in 1928. This time, the couple even appeared together on stage, which suggests there may have been a certain synergy in their working lives. Yet, the stock market crash of 1929 caused a seismic shift in the entertainment industry. With finances drying up for Broadway productions, many actors found themselves unemployed or underemployed, creating a mass migration to Hollywood, where the newly profitable talkie productions were in full swing. It was a period marked by a dual sense of optimism and desperation. Hollywood promised lucrative contracts and national fame, but it also devoured hopeful talents by the hundreds. Amid this wave, Bogart ventured west, whereas Mary chose to remain in New York to continue her stage career. Already, tensions in the marriage were clear. It was an era when spouses often had to choose between personal ambition and collective stability, especially if both were pursuing parallel acting careers. The transcontinental separation that followed placed the marriage under severe strain. Hollywood, while full of opportunity, was also a place of cutthroat negotiations and uncertain prospects. Studios dictated actors' images, assigned them to films without much say, and even attempted to manipulate personal lives for publicity. In that environment, maintaining a long-distance marriage to someone who was building a career in New York became all the more challenging. During this period, Bogart's early brushes with Hollywood's studio system were less than auspicious. He signed a contract with Fox, but the few projects he booked failed to make a significant impact. The transition from stage to screen was neither immediate nor guaranteed, particularly for an actor who, while talented, did not fit the mold of the typical matinee idol. Hollywood favored tall, sleek, almost aristocratic leading men, or at least men who projected a smoothly romantic facade. Bogart, with his somewhat raspy voice, modest stature, and sardonic edge, often found himself relegated to second-tier projects, Initial film struggles and return to the stage. Upon arriving in Hollywood, Bogart found himself amidst the dawn of the talkies era, where actors with distinct enunciation were highly sought after. He inked a contract with the Fox Corporation, but his initial foray into films fell short of success, resulting in the termination of his contract. Other ventures with different production companies also proved disappointing. In 1934, Bogart made the pivotal decision to return to New York, where Mary continued to flourish as an actress. Breakthrough in the Petrified Forest. It proved to be a fortuitous move, as he soon found himself offered an opportunity to audition for a groundbreaking role in the stage play The Petrified Forest. The character he tested for was none other than Duke Mantee, an escaped killer, marking a turning point in Bogart's career. When the play was adapted into a film in 1936, actor Leslie Howard once again advocated for Bogart to portray Duke Mantee. The movie proved to be a resounding success, ultimately leading to a coveted contract with Warner Brothers. At last, Bogart had firmly established himself as a bona fide Hollywood actor. Turbulent personal life and third marriage. However, amidst this newfound stardom, Bogart's personal life faced trials. Despite his soaring career, his second wife, Mary, staunchly refused to abandon her theatrical roots in New York. The strain of a divided marriage proved insurmountable, leading to their divorce in 1937. The following year, Bogart entered into his third marriage, this time with Methot, an actress known for her fiery personality and fondness for alcohol. Both Bogart and Methot developed reputations as fierce individuals, earning them the moniker of the Battling Bogarts. Typecasting in early notable roles. Although Bogart was prolific in his early film career, appearing in over 30 movies in 4 years starting from 1936, he often found himself trapped in disappointing B pictures. He sensed correctly that he was often handed gangster roles that top stars like Cagney had turned down. While some standout films such as Dead End, 1937, Angels with Dirty Faces, 1938, and They Drive by Night, 1940, showcased his talent, it wasn't until 1941 that he encountered two roles that would catapult him into superstardom: High Sierra and The Maltese Falcon in 1941. Bogart found himself in the hands of two influential figures who would shape his career. John Huston, who would become a prominent collaborator in Bogart's future endeavors, penned the script for High Sierra. The film, helmed by the master Raoul Walsh, showcased Bogart's astute portrayal of Roy Mad Dog, a complex and sympathetic character. With critical acclaim and commercial triumph, the movie solidified Bogart's status as a rising star. That same year, Bogart had the opportunity to work with Huston again, this time in Huston's directorial debut, The Maltese Falcon. In the role of the detective Sam Spade, Bogart showcased a more nuanced portrayal, infusing the character with a romantic touch alongside his customary tough guy persona. Casablanca and global recognition. The film boasted an exceptional supporting cast, including the talents of Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre, who would also join Bogart in his next memorable venture, Casablanca, the film for which he is most renowned. In Casablanca, Bogart had the chance to shine opposite the captivating Ingrid Bergman, portraying Rick Blaine, the enigmatic club owner in war-torn Casablanca. Bogart skillfully delved deeper into his character's layers, revealing a romantic side beneath the hardened exterior. The film became a colossal success, captivating audiences and enduring as a beloved classic. Although Bogart received the Best Actor Oscar nomination for his remarkable performance, the award went to Paul Lukas for Watch on the Rhine. Box office dominance and meeting Lauren Bacall having solidified his status as a leading box office attraction, Bogart emerged as the highest-paid actor in Hollywood. Over the next decade, he graced the silver screen with a series of outstanding films, showcasing his exceptional acting prowess to the world. It was during the filming of To Have and Have Not in 1944 that he encountered a young and aspiring actress, Lauren Bacall, who had initially started her career as a model. Their ensuing romance ignited both on-screen chemistry and real-life fireworks. Divorced from Methot and Blissful Union with Bacall by May 1945, Bogart took the step that many saw coming: he divorced Methot. The final unraveling of their marriage was both painful and somewhat inevitable, given the trajectory of their mutual unhappiness. A mere 11 days after the divorce, he married Lauren Bacall in a modest ceremony at a friend's Ohio farm, away from the prying eyes of Hollywood. This new marriage dramatically changed Bogart's life. For perhaps the first time, he found a sense of serenity and genuine partnership in his private affairs. Bacall, although significantly younger, possessed a maturity that complemented Bogart's weary cynicism. She respected his space, understood his quirks, and stood by him in the face of his lingering personal demons, particularly his heavy drinking and sometimes moody temperament. The synergy between them went beyond romance, it also extended to their work, as they would appear together in 3 more films over the coming years. Their family life also blossomed. They welcomed a son, Stephen, in 1949, named after Bogart's character from The Have and Have Not, and later a daughter, Leslie Howard, in 1952, a tribute to the man who had been instrumental in Bogart's early success. In the sometimes superficial world of Hollywood, they established a home marked by relative normalcy. Yes, they still attended glamorous premieres and hobnobbed with industry elites, but behind the gates of their residence, they enjoyed family meals, sang songs, and even indulged in low-key pastimes like sailing on Bogart's prized yacht, the Santana. In many ways, the marriage to Bacall rewrote the final chapters of Bogart's personal narrative. He went from a man publicly notorious for drunken altercations to someone who, while not free of personal vices, had discovered a stabilizing force. It was also an era when Hollywood stardom was rapidly changing. Actors who could show audiences a semblance of genuine off-screen contentment without undermining the illusions of their on-screen roles were highly appealing. Bogart and Bacall became emblematic of that delicate balance, a real, romantic story that overlapped with the seductive glamour they portrayed in films. Further collaborations and acclaimed performances. Bogart continued his streak of successes with To Have and Have Not, and Warner Brothers offered him a remarkably generous contract worth $1 million per year. He went on to collaborate with Bacall in 3 more films, including The Big Sleep, 1946, and Key Largo, 1948. Additionally, in 1948, Bogart teamed up with John Huston for The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. His portrayal of the morally flawed prospector Fred C. Dobbs stood out as one of his most remarkable performances yet. He surpassed even that with his masterly acting in A Lonely Place, 1950, produced by his own Santana Productions, named after his cherished private yacht, where he skillfully portrayed a character consumed by anger and self-loathing. Academy Award win and later career. As the 1950s dawned, Bogart continued to expand his repertoire. His portrayal of Charlie Allnut in John Huston's The African Queen, 1951, stands as a highlight, not only of his career but also of cinema history. Starring opposite Katharine Hepburn, Bogart played a scruffy, gin-drinking boat captain navigating treacherous waters during World War I. Much like many of his best roles, Charlie Allnut blended humor, grit, and emotional honesty. The on-location shoot in Africa was notoriously arduous, but the result was a film beloved by critics and audiences alike. The performance earned Bogart the Academy Award for Best Actor, an overdue acknowledgement of his talents and contributions, given that his previous nominations hadn't yielded a win. This triumph exemplified Bogart's ability to channel real-life adversity into memorable performances. It was not merely a romantic or comedic turn, it was a testament to how adversity shapes character and fosters unity, themes that resonated with post-war moviegoers. Winning the Oscar also served as a vindication for all those years in which he had been sidelined to the second tier. Having proven himself repeatedly, he was now entrenched among the pantheon of Hollywood's greatest leading men. Subsequent roles demonstrated his continued willingness to tackle complex characters. In The Caine Mutiny, 1954, directed by Edward Dmytryk, Bogart brought to life Captain Queeg, a paranoid and tyrannical naval officer who unravels under pressure. The role earned him a 3rd Best Actor Oscar nomination, once again illustrating his prowess for depicting morally compromised, psychologically layered individuals. At the same time, he dabbled in lighter fare such as Billy Wilder's Sabrina, 1954, where he portrayed Linus Larrabee, a pragmatic businessman who stands in stark contrast to his playboy brother, played by William Holden. While some questioned whether Bogart was miscast opposite the radiant Audrey Hepburn, the film's enduring popularity suggests that audiences appreciated his late career foray into sophisticated romantic comedy. In The Barefoot Contessa, 1954, directed by Joseph L. Mankiewicz, he appeared as Harry Dawes, a film director grappling with the harsh realities of show business, a meta-commentary of sorts, given Bogart's own experiences with the industry. Declining health and final films for all these career highs, time was beginning to catch up with Bogart. A lifelong heavy drinker and smoker, he started to feel the toll on his health by the mid-1950s. His final films, including Were No Angels, 1955, The Desperate Hours, 1955, The Left Hand of God, 1955, and The Harder They Fall, 1956, reflected the conflict between his enduring talent and the encroaching limitations of illness. While these later roles still offered moments of brilliance, critics and close friends could see the decline in his energy and overall well-being. His diagnosis of esophageal cancer confirmed the worst of his fears. Surgery and treatments in that era were limited, and despite multiple attempts, the disease proved too aggressive. Bogart's refusal to fully curtail the habits that had harmed him, particularly smoking, likely accelerated his deterioration. Throughout this time, Lauren Bacall stood by him, providing emotional support and advocating for his treatment. The studio system and the press maintained a respectful distance, in part because the public was largely unaware of the severity of his condition, though rumors circulated. On January 14, 1957, Humphrey Bogart passed away at age 57 in his Hollywood home. His cremated remains were interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park Cemetery in Glendale, California. The loss was felt profoundly, not only by his family, Bacall and their 2 children, but also by the industry that had once typecast him as just another hoodlum with a scar and a sneer. In the days and weeks that followed, tributes poured in from colleagues, critics, and fans worldwide, all recognizing that a singular presence had left the stage. Bogart's legacy is multifaceted. On one hand, he is immortalized as Rick Blaine from Casablanca, the world-weary cynic who finds redemption in love and sacrifice. On the other, he is Sam Spade, Roy Earl, Fred C. Dobbs, and Captain Queeg, complex men shaped by desperation, cynicism, and moral quandaries. In an era that often preferred black and white depictions of heroism, he specialized in shades of gray. Equally important was the romance he shared with Lauren Bacall, which transcended mere Hollywood myth to become an enduring symbol of love found against the odds. To fully appreciate the sweep of Bogart's life and career, one must see him as a product of the shifting cultural tides of the 20th century, son of an accomplished artist and a surgeon, a Navy enlistee during a World War, an actor shaped by Broadway's discipline, a star forged in the crucible of Hollywood's studio system, and a man whose personal demons and triumphs alike fueled the authenticity he brought to his roles. His enduring appeal lies in that extraordinary confluence of talents, vulnerabilities, and experiences that made him simultaneously an everyman and an icon. There is no question that Humphrey Bogart left a mark on cinema that continues to inform how audiences and actors alike think about moral complexity, romantic fatalism, and the tough exterior that conceals a bruised heart. His path was never simple or straightforward, yet it culminated in timeless performances that remain fresh decades after his passing. Even now, in the digital age, streaming audiences discover or revisit his films and find that the allure of Bogart's persona, part romantic hero, part antisocial loner, never fades. So, as we conclude this more expansive reflection on his journey, we see that Bogart's story is one of perseverance against the molds others tried to confine him to. From his privileged New York upbringing to the precarious early Hollywood roles, from naval service to repeated typecasting, he refused to settle until he found creative fulfillment and personal contentment. Such resolve elevated him from a mere contract player to an enduring legend. In the end, when we watch him toss off a casual remark about the beginning of a beautiful friendship, or observe him intensify a moment of tension with a single, brooding glance, we witness a mastery of craft that was decades in the making, shaped by heartbreak, honed by persistence, and immortalized by the bright lights of Hollywood's golden era.